Looking to improve your life, brush up on your personal growth techniques? You are in the right place. Welcome to Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap.
And welcome back, everybody, to our show called Life's Little Lessons. My name is Kevin Dunlap, your host, and today I have a person that I've known for a few years. She used to live here in Las Vegas, and I knew her through some of the personal growth stuff that I was doing back in the early, probably 2012-ish, around that time frame. And then she actually moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, where she actually has her own business going on. And her name is Carine Werner, and she has a company called Ask Carine, or you can actually find her on her website at askcarine.com. And how to spell her name, to make sure that you actually spelling it correctly, her name is spelled C-A-R-I-N-E. So that's Carine, C-A-R-I-N-E, or at askcarine.com. She's a health and success strategist. So Carine, welcome to the show today.
Hi there. So I'm a wealth and success strategist because I believe that everybody are much happier when they're wealthy and successful. Wealthy meaning a whole lot more than just your financial status, but also your time. It's really your time and financial freedom. And that's where my passion lies, is helping people create time and financial freedom. So,
okay. And how long have you been doing that for?
Well, so I actually started coaching back in 2002. And so my company has really kind of evolved. It's gone through a lot of rebrandings as I've grown and worked on myself, as well as, I am always one for creating more tools for my toolbox. And so I started back in 2000. So.
Wow.
And Ask Carine. So Ask Carine came about. I actually rebranded about a year ago because I'm the person that people always come to when they need a solution or an answer to something, or if they feel stuck. I'm people's first call.
Oh, fantastic! So you developed basically a hobby into actually converting it into a business where you're noticing like everybody was coming to you. So like, why don't I actually make a business out of this? Is that kind of how it started?
Well, so I started, you know what, I should have done that because that's how it was. However, I really didn't take it on as a business until I started in the mortgage industry. Prior to that, it's exactly what you just said. Everybody here came to me. So, and then in the mortgage industry, I was asked to hire, train, and develop loan officers. And at the time, I didn't have any credentials or any, background to support that. And so I was just following what other people were doing. And I just realized very quickly that, training on X's and O's in a sales industry is not effective. And you waste a whole lot of time with people. And, I think that in any type of a sales or production-based business, you have to coach, and you have to draw forth what's inside of people and help push people past their obstacles and fears. And so that's what I did. And what I noticed was that, once I flipped to coaching as opposed to training, people started having really, really great successes. So, and then I did that for nearly a decade and just really hone my skills, I think, professionally as a coach at that point, and eventually left the mortgage industry because, I didn't really like mortgages that much. I was good at it, but I was kind of done with it. And that's actually when I went and worked for the company where we met. And and because I wanted to take myself on and really grow and develop myself as a human being, because if I did that, I would be able to be of service to more people. So, and that's the one thing that, as you're starting out in business, you always want to lead by example and always grow and develop yourself. So the more you grow between the ears, the more success you'll have.
Yes, and so that's very well said, or well put. Is everything begins with your mindset. Everything begins with the thing in between your ears.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the things, so I spent some time where we met, and then I wanted to get some credentials and certifications. And so I got trained in Neuro Linguistic Programming, which is all our thought process and our words, timeline therapy, hypnosis, and all of that. And it's amazing how, and so now I've developed my own program around thoughts, words, and actions. And that is really the trifecta to success. And so when you watch my Facebook Lives, which I do very, very regularly, I will usually, if not almost every time, talk about how your thoughts, your words, and your actions are going to produce the results that you desire, whether you desire them or you don't desire them. You're going to get them based on your thoughts, words, and actions. So.
Okay, and I fully agree with you on that as well, because we've been through this kind of training, and everything does begin with your thoughts. It begins with even your earlier programming that you were even as a kid leads to your thoughts that you are today, and your thoughts will become, as we all know through, like I said, the law of attraction stuff, will manifest whatever that you're focusing on.
Yes, and you'll have heard this before, but it's like our minds don't know the difference between what we visualize and what is actually real. And then you add to that is your subconscious is just there to make your conscious mind right. So whatever it is that you're thinking about, your subconscious is going to seek out a match. So you might as well give it a positive. And, when it comes to your thoughts, it's you have control over your thoughts. You may not have control over the initial one that flies through your mind, but you have control over stopping that thought and flipping it to something that's going to align with the desires that you have.
Okay.
I do a lot of training or a lot of teaching and coaching around that. So
okay.
And problems with that.
And you said that you're NLP certified as well. Is that as a practitioner level, or is that master practitioner?
Practitioner. So it was that was my first certification, and then I actually just recently, as recent as this weekend, got certified as a Reiki practitioner. So level 1 and level 2. And that just goes back to, I try to do something once a year that grows and develops me. Because again, it's for us to have success, I feel like we have to do something that stretches us and grows us. And so that we can really add something to our toolbox. So even if you have a brick and mortar business, where you have employees and so on, like how you show up for them and who you attract is going to be based on your mindset and your beingness. So Reiki was mine for 2018. It was amazing.
Okay. Well, congratulations on, you say level 1 and level 2?
Yes. I'm doing my master next month.
Oh, fantastic. Well, good luck to you on that.
Thank you.
Are you working on any other kind of certifications, or are you thinking about it for later on this year or into 2019?
No, I'm going to follow through on the Reiki. I'm going to do a few more classes around that because I feel it benefits my team. So the more tools I have that I can support them with, then my team grows. So when my team grows, I grow. So I'm going to do. I have my master's coming up in February, and then in March I'm going to take another class in and around Reiki, but it's really going to be focusing on the brain, and that'll be in March, and so we'll see after that. But I have it all sprinkled in the first quarter. I have big goals in the first quarter too, though, so that's probably why I'm doing it.
Well, congratulations. I don't know if you knew this or not, but also I received my NLP certification, practitioner certification as well a couple of years ago. And
I didn't know that.
Yes. And we've had a person on the show that did timeline regression therapy before, and that's all just part of NLP. And, and for those of you out there that are coaches or looking to be coaches, I strongly suggest you find somebody that does do NLP, because there's so much in there that you will learn. And I know it's helped me an enormous amount. I mean, one of the things that I have learned and I've be able to help other people with, especially if somebody's having an issue with somebody else, let's say maybe a mom or even a dad or a parent or what have you. And it was one of the NLP's presupposition is people are doing the best that they can with the tools that they have at that time.
Very true.
And
Very
even though
true.
you said, well, my mom was a horrible person, my dad was a horrible person, but were they still, let's assume that they were still putting food on the table. They were still doing that. They were still doing the best they could with the tools that they had. And
Exactly.
that, to me, I mean, after really realizing this, it helped me overcome a lot of issues that I had with other people, especially when I was growing up. I mean, I've had a lot of experience going over that, but that just learning that one presupposition and then looking at it from their perspective, that person's perspective, completely changed my whole thought process on that. And that was such a huge awakening. I don't know about you, but to me, when I was studying NLP, and I was going through a formalized training, I'm sure you did too. You weren't just watching videos and stuff. Did you actually go to a class?
Yes. Yeah. Yes. It was very intense.
Yes.
So
Yes. Mine was like 5 days long, and it was extremely intense. Mine was up in San Jose. Is where I was for mine. Who was your trainer?
so I did mine through Tad James, and so it was
Okay.
7 days in Las Vegas, like 7 very long days. However, it was absolutely transformational, and it really, really affected the way that I coach and the way that I help people, because it really just just expanded my toolbox so much. And it just also, um, like I lead by example. So I usually will walk through the fire first. And I really
Mhm.
felt that I did that when I went through that training.
Okay. And mine was through actually Taz's son, Dr. Matt James. So
Really?
yes. So we went to the James family. Okay.
Yeah, we did. So that's awesome.
So why did you fall into wealth and success strategies? What made you decide to go down that route?
Well, I'm, I love, it fills me up when it really just gives me joy to see people be successful and be fulfilled. And when people have wealth, so whether it's financial wealth and wealth and happiness and in love, and it's I think that's how we were all intended to be. I don't think that we were put on this earth to have as much suffering and as much misery and as much struggles that most people see. And so, when you look at people who have reached certain levels of wealth, in kind of all areas of life, not just financial, because that becomes that they could be, super wealthy financially, but then their relationships are a mess and maybe they're lonely and all these other things. So it's really just kind of all encompassing wealth in your life. Um, it's, it feels good to feel good. And so if I can help someone else feel good, then I feel like, I'm fulfilling my purpose here. So the more that I can see people grow and become successful, that's what gives me joy. And I know that growing up for me, it was like highs and lows. When we went through definitely some really great times, and we went through some extreme hardships. And what I've learned is, and it's so funny because this morning I was reading in a book, and I'm going to read it to you because this is what I think wealth embodies and what it does. So it so wealth is it gives you peace of mind and absence of fear that comes with being wealthy. This unclutters their mind and enables them to direct their mental energy towards creating new ideas that will bring them an even greater wealth. Um, Wealthy are operating in a mindset of love and abundance and endless possibility. My keyword possibility, because my mind is popping possibilities all the time. The absence of fear allows them to see life and business as a game, and their financial success serves as a cornerstone of their confidence. And that is from to think like, do you think how rich people think? And if you look at marriages, relationships, family situations, and if you really broke down, and I'm not saying this to everyone, but I'm going to say the majority, if you broke down what was happening, what was the root cause of the breakdown in the families, whether it's abuse, whether it's just general hardship and people being poor and not being able to provide, or, you know, any type of dysfunction that's, well, not dysfunction, because I don't know if there's such thing as a non-dysfunctional family, but, you know, whenever there's a hardship of some sort, whether it is, or unhappiness, depression, that type of stuff. If you look at the root, if you peel back the layers, the root cause of the stress is generally money. It's generally not being able to make ends meet. It is, and you look at, and then out of that, then, you know, again, parents do the best they can with what they have, but then they feel bad about not being able to provide something. And then, so then they shame people for wanting those bigger things. I know that's how I grew up. Then you're almost shamed for wanting to have nicer things. And then it creates this vicious cycle of a scarcity mindset. And so I think that if you can raise people's wealth up, and again, you have to have mindset to go with that, right? Because you can have somebody, you look at lotto winners, you know, and how many of them actually retain the money. It's a pretty small percentage. And that's because the people that win it are still living in that scarcity mindset. And so the money just goes. And so I think that, you know, if, as I work with people and I work with wealth and success, and my definition or my meaning of that is to creating time and financial freedom, because when you have the finances to do whatever you want when you want without regard to money and say time at that time, you're going to live a happier life. You're going to, because you're able to make a bigger difference, and you're going to have a lot less stress that people have where you're trying to make ends meet all the time, or where there's a lack in confidence, or a lack in something that that's not making a person feel fulfilled. Am I making sense on that? I might have rambled a little bit.
No, that makes perfect sense, because I mean, I'm a strong believer as well, because I'm at being an entrepreneur strategist. You know, I want to help, kind of like you. I want them to reach a level to where they are not having to be worrying, you know, living paycheck to paycheck. And once that financial stress has been removed, then they're open to so many other possibilities. However,
that's it.
However, the other aspect that I know, and I'm sure you have to overcome this too with your clients, is you have to teach the people that they are financially, that they can financially handle that kind of money. Because, I mean, you look at lotto winners, you also look at, let's say, star athletes, or people that just suddenly make it in the movie or film or music industries. If they don't have the financial wherewithal to handle that kind of thing, they are going to just blow it. I mean, if you go from, say, $40,000 a year to $200,000 a year, you may not have the money blueprint in your mind saying, hey, I know how to live off this, because you would just go there and you would just blow it on the needless things. Like, you go and buy 6 cars, you go and do all of that, but you have to teach them not only their mindset, but you also have to educate them and to train them to be able to accept something like that. Do you see having to work with your clients that way as well, when they're starting to become wealthy, having to actually handle it and not be able to just blow it?
Yeah, and that's a whole, you know, worthiness thing as well. And you know, I actually have a friend who inherited, I think it was like 28 or 38 million, something like that. Call it $28 million, and it was unexpected. And though he's doing just fine today, it was all gone. And again, he was the first one to admit that he didn't have the right mindset to manage that kind of money and to handle it properly. And so, unfortunately, he's successful in his business, but you know, in hindsight, he would have done a lot of things a lot differently. And so, but yeah, so I think it's comes down to a wealth consciousness mindset, and it comes down to you know, allowing yourself to be worthy of it.
Okay. And that is, yeah, I'm glad you had a personal experience that you've actually seen that with when somebody had a sudden breakthrough or windfall of funds is how can they handle it? Can they handle it mentally? And most people think, I think they would go say, well, yeah, I can handle that. There's no big deal. But in the real case scenario, it's like, well, that person should have had a financial planner all of a sudden hired on. They should have had other people that, you know, to bring in and say, okay, how do I handle all of this? Instead of just saying, hey, I'm going to just go out and spend because I have it, and all of a sudden it's like it's all gone.
Yeah.
So,
Not good. Not good.
So,
Yeah.
so tell me about your typical client. What kind of person are you looking for that would be a perfect client for you?
Well, so the people that I work with, so I'll share a couple of stories of people that I've worked with, and some is just dating back to the mortgage industry, and you know, I help people go from making $1,500 a month to $200,000 a year. You know, that's a significant increase. And so the people that I work with are people that are just tired of doing what they're doing right now. Like, they may not want to leave their job, but they want to have either a side hustle or to be building something for their future where they can have some type of residual income or build up for their future. So the one thing that I find so important is to leverage. And because as entrepreneurs, we can't do it all ourselves. I mean, that is like number one rule. We can't do it all ourselves. We have to leverage other people's time, other people's skill sets. And, you know, I always believe in working with people that, you know more than me.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's a very good rule of thumb to have as you're embarking on a new journey in entrepreneurship is don't be afraid to hire people that are smarter than you, because I promise you, it'll make your job a whole lot easier. I don't have to know it all. You know, there was a time in my life I felt like I knew it all, like I had to have control over everything. And fortunately, I have released that, and I am really great with letting people shine in their greatness of whatever their skill set is. And you know, I think that's just what you have to do to become successful. If not, you're just going to be really stressed out. You know, when I started out in the mortgage industry, I built 6-figure businesses in 3 areas of that business: personal production, override from the people I coach, and in commercial loans. And so doing that, I didn't have a whole lot of time I had 2 babies at the same time. So that put me at 3 kids and a husband. I think that makes 4 kids. So I didn't have a lot of rhythm in my life at that time. And I don't think you ever really truly have balance. So I say rhythm, which is actually my friend Erin, who came up with that word, is you know, harmony. And I used to say harmony, and she says rhythm. Like, you know, that's what it is. You got to have a rhythm to your life. And because when you're building a business, it is going to take some time away from your family and from other things. And you just have to be, okay, that's the rhythm that you're at right now. But it will, you know, it'll swing back. And I had 0 rhythm to my life. It was very stressful. I had a lot of anxiety, and so I really learned that is you have to leverage. You have to leverage other people's skills, and you have to leverage your income and where the sources of your income are coming from. You can't just put all your eggs into one basket and then have control over that basket. You got to kind of bring people on board. So,
and that's well said, because and I know I've mentioned this in a few of my shows. One of my favorite books out there is called The 4-Hour Work Week, and by Tim Ferriss. And he talks about he has an acronym that says the word deal. And just to briefly go over this for those of you that have heard me talk about this before, I don't want to go over it too put too much time on it, but the acronym stands for the word deal stands for what can you delegate, what can you eliminate, what can you automate, and what do you do at the very end when you have all this free time. So what do you do when to liberate? So like you were
That's
saying
awesome.
about by leverage, that's the whole delegate and the automate part. Is getting other people to do this. That way you got more free time to go in to find the new clients or to get another contract or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I actually have a webinar coming out. It'll be either towards the end of this month. And it's like how to run your business from yourself, or how to create a new source of income from your cell phone, and leveraging that little, computer that you have in your hand every day. Right. And then, and I bring that up because there's so many things that you can do, even if you're not able to step away from your job right now, but you have this desire to start your own business and to become an entrepreneur, so that you kind of take your power back and your control back, in the sense of what you're able to create income wise. And because that's like, now I run my business pretty much off of my cell phone, and I do use my laptop, but for the most part, the day-to-day stuff I do just from my phone. And so I want to share that with people. And so that popped into my head, so how to get it out there, because we think that, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, and we get stuck in that, okay, I need these systems, and I need all these tools, and at the end of the day, you don't really need it. It's in that little computer that you have in your hand, called an iPhone or a smartphone. So,
Well, and I would agree with you. I mean, I do a lot of my stuff on my laptop, but you're absolutely right. Especially with the younger generation, a lot of them can run their entire business, if not on their computer, but at least on their cell phone. Excuse me.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So I think that, with, if you leverage, and you're willing to be brave, go out there and pursue it, it's going to come together for you. And so, and it's just being that consistent and moving forward, and not overcomplicating things. So,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'd like to find out a little bit more about you. And this is actually for the people that are out there listening or watching this show. A lot of them are probably just starting out. Even when people are coming to you, probably a lot of them are brand new entrepreneurs, or they're just starting a business, or looking to maybe even how to leverage their time better. Could you tell me a little bit about your business, and what were some of your early successes that you had? What are some things? Maybe it was getting your first clients, getting that confidence. What was some of your early successes?
Well, I think my early successes were, so at that time I was in a brick and mortar, so I would go to an office and so on. The first thing I did was hire an assistant. And the funny thing is, I wasn't really sure where I was going to get the money from for an assistant and daycare and all that stuff, but I worked it out. And that was probably one of the greatest things that I did, because she did everything that I was not good at. And I probably would not have been as successful as I was if I didn't do that, because I would have gotten caught up in the minutia of my weaknesses, which is like paperwork and organization and stuff like that. And literally, she handled all of that, which really freed me up to go out and create relationships and coach my people, and then be able to, help people get into their homes at that time. And my successes, I my one my Michael Smith story. I mean, he's dear to my heart, and he's a young guy with a family, and he's when he went from $1,500 to over $200,000 a year in a 2-year period, and it was just phenomenal to watch him blossom. I just think that it was such a joy to watch somebody just take off and run, and to have been able to been a conduit for that was absolutely amazing. I mean, I had the people that and she ran a business out of her car, and and I'm okay, like, when it comes to working with me, like, we're about the result. It's not always about how you get there, right? As long as you're within integrity and all that, it's not the path, it's the result. So it's just a joy to see those things. And I know you have a question about, like, what was maybe something that I what I had to overcome. And I want to talk about that. There was a couple of things that I had to overcome. So at the time, right, I was not very savvy, or I was not very, like, any type of admin work, I still hate it. I have a virtual assistant now. Like, I really, it's just not my thing. I want to go do the relationship stuff. I want to go and do the creation. And, so that was something that I definitely had to overcome. And until I hired that assistant, it was rough. And it's looking at what is it that will help me overcome this obstacle. And, usually the obstacles are within ourselves. And so we can choose to sit in it and try to figure it out ourselves, or we can just reach out and leverage somebody else's skills. And the other thing that, like, if I had to do it over again, and this is where I've kind of come full circle, is I would have taken on a business that, where I had a residual income, and where I had money that would come in even if I didn't show up for work that day. And the reason I say that is, like, I was in labor with both of my boys, and I was working. So I was literally in labor and I was working. And because I was committed to other people's success, I was committed to my people being successful. And that was my choice. But I also felt that, if I didn't help them be successful, then they could lose it all, whatever. And so I think that it's just so important that you build something so that you can step away from it. And I think, and still continue to get paid. And I think that in today's age with social media, because we didn't have that back then. I don't remember when, like, Twitter and Facebook and all that came out, but it was not something that was used for business, or at least I wasn't into it. And now I leverage Facebook. Like, I am on Facebook almost every single day, and I do a Facebook Live. I give my content, and I just, put my tools out there for people to get, pretty much for free. Well, it is for free because I'm just putting it out there. And however, it is an amazing marketing tool. It's an amazing place to create and really get some amazing leads and connect with some amazing people. So you want to be putting yourself out there so that you are creating your own brand, and putting yourself in a position to leverage everything that's available out there, so you're not stuck with trading time for money, or being in a position that, if the people that you've hired are not trading time for money, you have to step in. So it's gosh, I just keep coming back to leverage. It's like, and I just think that it's the key to time and financial freedom is you have to leverage, and you have to be willing to look at, is the vehicle that you're in going to get you there. And what was interesting this morning, I was looking at, I took some bar classes, which are awesome, by the way. And I just looked at, what the cost of the franchises are. And it's significant. Like, I had no idea. And I'm looking at how busy the studio I go to is, and I'm looking at what they paid to get that building up, or to get the business up. And it's like, oh, I don't know about that. Right. And so, take a look at the bar studio would obviously be a vehicle. So is that vehicle going to get you to the time and financial freedom that you want? And is that business? Because you start a business, you become an entrepreneur to make money, bottom line, right? Because, you need money to pay the bills. So what is that money for? Because you're doing it to make money. And when you have the money, is it going to get you that desired result that you want? And what is that desired result? And you got to get crystal clear on what that is. And then if you backtrack it, is that business going to get you there? Because if you're building, I have another friend, she's a multi-business owner, and she has a couple of franchises, and she works 24/7. I mean, non-stop, phenomenal lady. but is it getting her her desired result besides working? And that's what you have to truly ask yourself. Is the vehicle that I am embarking on, or the vehicle that I am in, going to get me my desired results? So will it get you the amount of money you're going to need? Will it get you the time that you need and the happiness that you desire? So.
And I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people, number one, going back to your bar studio thing, is you have to look at what is the financial success that you can get from that business. Because I've looked at, because I do a lot of hot yoga and things like that, and I'll do the exact same thing. Okay, membership is X number of dollars per year, and then but then hot yoga studios, like, okay, how many students are in the class? Okay, they have to provide the building, they have to pay the instructor, and in hot yoga, they have to pay a huge gas bill because they have to heat the studio to 100 plus degrees multiple times during the day. And then, of course, all the operating costs. And I do look at it as like, are they really making all that much of a profit? And I mean, I've seen yoga studios go out of business. I'm sure bar business, any kind of athletic facility, there's quite often they will go out of business, even on chains. And you just got to look at it as like, okay, and then like your other friend, you said that's a multi business owner, is, she's trading all of her time, to make this money. I don't know how wealthy she is, but let's assume she's fairly wealthy. Now, is she enjoying the fruits of her labor? Or is she, like you said, it's time to go make the donuts again. You got to go back to work, at 5 o'clock in the morning or whatever it is. Are you really enjoying that? And if it's not getting you what you want, then number one, you got to, in my opinion, you got to question, should you be continue doing that? Or what is it that you can start delegating? Like you're saying, leverage. Instead of her going to all of her businesses doing this, why not having a overall manager that handles it all? And maybe even put into something into the effect of, hey, anything under $500, you don't have to ask me. You have complete say in those kinds of things. So therefore, she could start removing herself from the day-to-day operations. Perfect example that I'd like to look at is, let's look at Bill Gates. He started off by being the technician, the guy, putting it all together. But he's no longer, he's barely even at Microsoft anymore. He's doing his philanthropy right now. Out there just going and giving and doing all these things. You have to build your business and scale it to the point where, number one, you can sell it, or number two, like you were saying earlier, that you could walk away and still making money from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and so I think, so what I do when people come to me, whether it's just for coaching because they have their own business idea that they want to put into action and create, I really support them in making that happen. And if somebody is, and I'm going to question them, I'm going to ask them, is this business going to get you what you want? Because what is it that you really want? And I'm going to dig there, because if you just start a business and the business is running you, that is not going to be fun. And then the second thing is, well, once you're clear on your desired results, the lifestyle that you want to have, we can take a look at, well, what vehicle is going to get you there? So is that going to be the vehicle that you had chosen? Or maybe you have a different talent. Maybe you have a skill that, can be monetized that you didn't even think could be monetized. That's the beauty of my brain. It pops up possibilities like popcorn. And then we're able to sit down and do a structure of how you would monetize that. Or you can, join my team, and I can support you in creative, massive wealth on my team as well. So you have a lot of options when you come to me and to work with me. And so I'm excited to hear from some of you and see what we can create together. But it's ultimately, it's about your desired result and how you want to live, and that having that time and financial freedom. So the biggest thing that you have to put on your list is, what is that?
Okay, and now I'm going to flip the switch a little bit, because I'm glad we're kind of ending where we just talked about. When you were just getting started, what were some of your biggest fears? What were you afraid of? And how did you get past that? Because a lot of people out there are going to be wondering about that themselves. Because if they're going to start working with you, working on a team, they're going to have challenges. It could be financial. It could be their own personal self-value. It could be, are they even questioning the business itself? So what were some of your fears when you were
Oh
first
my
getting
gosh,
started?
I had a ton of them. And I got to say, it's one of those things. I saw a meme, I think it was today. It says, um, fear is okay, just do it scared, something to that effect. And I really did that. And when I finally decided to break in, so in the mortgage industry, you're 1099, it's your own business. It's like you get paid if you produce. That's it. And then to be so early on asked to support that company with training and developing new loan officers. Again, there's no pay. You only get paid if they produce. And so it was very much my own business. And my very first one was fears that would come up a lot. Is like, can I do this? Can I really do this? Like that fear of failure was in there almost every single day. And so ultimately what I did is I just did it scared. I put one foot in front of the other and I did it anyways. And it's pretty interesting because I would, as with any business, you have to market it. And when I first started out, I wasn't in a position to pay for marketing. And so I had to just pound pavement and didn't have social media as your best friend. Oh my gosh. There's so much free advertising. It's not even funny. It's like, I love it. Now I'm pounding pavement on Facebook. But I would go into offices and my heart would be pounding out of my chest. And I would go in and essentially, try to beat somebody else out for the business. And I didn't know a lot. I didn't have a lot of knowledge. So, I just kind of flew by the seat of my pants and just committed to being successful. And I know I even got kicked out of some offices. I mean, like, how can somebody say no to me? Right. But I think ultimately it's so that was a big obstacle for me at the time was that part of it. But I was young and so I just had some fears around failing and not being successful. So I operated from fear a lot, and it was kind of like, do it scared. And so then that was the first thing. And now looking in hindsight, it doesn't seem like that big of a deal. But if you apply that same thing, where are you scared? So mine is I didn't feel like I had the knowledge, and I was just flying by the seat of my pants. I also felt like I was working with people who had way more corporate experience than I did because I didn't have any at the time. But it's be scared and do it anyways. With another obstacle that came up was the market. Is there going to be a market for your business? And so we had a huge crash, in the real estate market. And so, I was definitely impacted by that significantly. And so again, then it's another obstacle. How are you going to pull your people through? Because my care was that, I got to get my team across the finish line. I got to keep my team going. And again, it's you do it scared. And you just go for it and you don't quit. And you just don't quit.
And I would agree with you as well, because if you're starting on any new endeavor, even when I became a real estate agent back in 2000 and what year was that? 2012. It's like I wasn't sure how I was going to get my clients, and I worked for an office that didn't give leads, so everything had to be done on your own.
Absolutely.
And all it takes is getting out there and networking and busting the pavement until you start getting those first successes. And then it will, as long as you're persistent, it will just keep continuing. Back when I lived in North Carolina, and Karen, you probably didn't know this about me either, but when I lived in North Carolina, back in Wilmington, North Carolina, I wanted to get involved. Well, actually, before Wilmington, I wanted to get involved in the film stunt industry.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a hard industry to break into. However, I put the energy out there that I wanted to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a little bit of training, and it's funny how things will manifest, because I'm sure when you go back and look at it, a lot of the things that you have developed in your business, I'm sure was complete manifestation.
Oh, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
my story was, I was living in Charlotte, North Carolina at the time, had almost no money, and I was like, I want to move into an area that was kind of popular in film. So there's going to be New Orleans. This was back in what year was it? 2002, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wanting to, or 2001, I was wanting to move. So there's New Orleans, Louisiana, there's Myrtle Beach,
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina, and there's Wilmington, North Carolina. And I had a little bit of stunt training. I had trained a little bit in Raleigh through the Society of American Fight Directors, and I was learning sword fighting and things like that. And I went to Wilmington, and back then, this is 2001, cell phones were still in their infancy. I didn't have a cell phone. I think I had a pager at that time.
Ooh, pager.
Ooh, I know, I was special. And I ended up going to a bookstore, got a map. This is before apps. So I got a map, physical map, went to a phone booth, got a roll of quarters, got a newspaper, and I started calling people in the newspaper for like houses to live. And then I would figure out if I like it here, I would do whatever. And I was standing in the phone booth. This was a Friday. I was sitting in the phone booth, and there was a flyer in there saying that at Screen Gym Studio is a special stunt show going on tomorrow. So I took the thing, and it was like $20 to go, and that was like most of the money that I had, that I had arranged for myself to go on this stuff to Wilmington. Went to that stunt show, ended up meeting other stunt performers from independent films, and within 2 weeks, I was living in North Carolina. I was training with those stunt people.
See, that's so awesome.
Complete manifestation.
Absolutely. And I think that's where, you know what, when you are clear on your desired result, that is stuff. I mean, it's clear intention and knowing exactly what it is that you want. You do not have to know how the path you're going to get there. That's awesome. That's really awesome. I'm going to just jump back real quick. So there was a hurdle that I had that somebody can choose your partners carefully. When I decided to take my coaching online and my speaking online, I decided I partnered up with somebody that I had known from a long time, and we created a 8-week online real estate success course. I paid for all that, and it was $30,000+. And the day of our launch, or no, it was a few days after our launch, maybe about a week or so, 10 days after, he just disappeared. And so it was literally like, and all the videos, everything that was created was both of us in it. And so it wasn't like I could just redo it and just do it myself. And that one was like, that hurt, because it was a significant amount of money. And it was like, how did I not catch that? You know, I'm an intuitive person and stuff like that. And so I tried to repackage it a few times, but ultimately I just had to cut losses with it. And that was a tough one to recover from. And, ultimately, even going back to the franchise thing, it's like, in today's age, like how we're living right now, unless you are doing a brick and mortar and an actual product that's being built, you don't have to spend a lot of money. And make sure that you split the money with your partner. So
I fully understand. I mean, that kind of setback could be very devastating, and where a partner just ups and disappears, and then you realize you are the full financial person behind all of that. So, but the thing is, that did not deter you from being an entrepreneur. You didn't say, well, no, I quit. I'm going to go back to a day job again.
I can't do that. I'm just not employable. I'm just not employable. I thought about it many times, but ultimately it is just not for me. And so I really just stuck with my coaching, and I branched out, and now I help people, including myself, with naturally based shampoos that help regrow hair, and I get to have awesome hair every day. And I wouldn't invest that kind of money again into, unless it was a brick and mortar and that the return was going to be absolutely phenomenal. There are just so many opportunities now as an entrepreneur to be online based and not have to sink a large amount of money into it. So.
Right. And I fully agree with you there as well, because I've recorded 2 different training programs. One was how to become a self-published author, and also another one is the 8 steps to achieving any goals. And those are all video-based things that I've created in my own office, where I've just using a camcorder, a few lights, record the stuff, go and edit it on my computer, and then now I can go and launch it, which does not require any kind of brick and mortar type of business. And you're absolutely right as well with social media the way it is, Facebook and Twitter and Pinterest. I mean, there's so much out there. I mean, any of you guys that are out there on Facebook, I'm sure you will see those in the advertising. There's all kinds of, I see all kinds of ads all the time that are based upon criteria that Facebook has determined would be interesting to me. And it's, and I bought a few of those programs, and a few of them have actually really been beneficial. So you can get started with just your laptop or even your cell phone. I mean, Carine is almost completely mobile, and
I love it.
And you could actually still even starting a business while, let's say, living your dream. If your dream is to travel the world, you could create a business around traveling the world. I mean, there's what is it, American Vagabond or whatever it's called, where people were they created a whole program based upon sailing, going across the world, and that was their whole business, was that. So you can do what you want to do, and you don't have to be in an office to do it. And Carine is a perfect example of that.
Yep.
So, Carine, where do you see yourself in the next 12 to 24 months? I mean, now that 2018 is underway, and where do you see yourself?
Well, it's very exciting times, because I did create I didn't create it, but I'm coaching people through a program where, helping them create an extra $2,000 in 30 days. And so my goal, and I want to have helped, 100 plus people, help them create $2,000 in 30 days, and then it snowballs from there. And so to be, 12 months from now, 24 months from now, I really want to look back at having helped, 24 months, definitely over 1,000 people personally, to have created a significant income for themselves, starting out with 2,030 days and then taking it from there. I have a book coming out here in the next, it's a collaboration book in February, which I'm super excited about. And ultimately I'm going to write my own book as well. And with all the a couple of webinars I have coming out, I feel like as I put all those together, I'm going to be able to help a lot of people create time and financial freedom for themselves, and time and financial freedom for myself, so that I can, spend more time with my family, travel, and, just be able to pick up and go a whole lot more than I can now. So family is hugely important to me, to be with my husband and my kids, and for us to really have that stress-free time together, that, I don't have to be somewhere. I don't have to be working with a client at that time. And if we all want to pick up and go to Europe, we can. And it's not like well, let's see, we can budget that in. It's it's really just being able to get up and go, do whatever we want, when we want, regardless of time or money.
Okay. So, and the book that you have coming out, the one you said was a collaboration, what's the name of that book, and where can I find it?
It's not quite out yet. It will be on Amazon, and they were just wrapping up the title. It's The Real Journey of the Empowered Mom Boss. It's Lessons in Perseverance, learning how 18 women conquered the digital age with success while keeping their families thriving.
So you got 18 case studies in there, or is it
Yep.
18 authors that are co-authors?
There's 18 co-authors.
Okay. And how did you find these other, I'm assuming all these other 17 women, I'm assuming they're all women.
Yeah, they are all women. Actually, it's a publisher out of Canada who is in my mastermind. That's another thing. Get your running mates your right away, whether they're in your business or not. You want to have somebody that you check in with every day that, helps you rise up. And Heather Andrews is actually a publisher out of Canada, and she's the one who put it together. So, and she's done a couple of collaboration books now.
Okay. I have not heard of her name, but what part of Canada is she from? Or
Calgary.
Calgary. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm glad you said something about masterminds as well. So if you are not already part of a mastermind, Google a mastermind in your area. I know I go to one every Saturday. I also have one accountability partner. I'm about to take on a second accountability partner, and these are other people that you could help grow your business with. Not saying they're going to be business partners, but they can help you grow your business. You could be accountable to each other. When you say, hey, I'm going to do this webinar by January 31st, but they're the ones that are going to say on January 15th. So how's your webinar coming along? Have you written it up yet? Have you already, you know what you're going to say? Which platform are you going to be using? How are you advertising? How are you getting people to come to your webinar? So it's having a mastermind, because my mastermind has helped me so many times with ideas. Like I never even thought about doing it that way, because when other entrepreneurs are getting together, and this is an entrepreneur mastermind that I'm talking about, when other entrepreneurs get together, they're going to come up with ideas that you had never even thought about. And not only that, you could be providing great information to them that they never thought about that you're coming up with. So it's a, what do you call it? Where you live off of each other?
Well, it's a win-win for one.
It's a win-win. Absolutely. Well, Carine, we're about to wrap up here. Are there any last minute things or last tidbits of lessons that you've learned that you would share with the audience?
Well, I think ultimately is you just got to have that 2 seconds of massive courage sometimes and just go for it. And, feel free to reach out to me or go to my website and just hit contact there as well at askcarine.com. But what it is reach out and just, surround yourself with the right people. And just remember, you become the average of the 5 people closest to you. And the other one is immerse yourself in the business that you're in. Whatever it is that you're pursuing, immerse yourself in it, because that is what's going to get you through.
Very good advice. Immerse yourself in your business. So you not only are you keeping up to changes and new ideas, but you're also you're able to just be that knowledge expert in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing, so when you reach out to me, I always thoughts, words, and action. That is the basis for everything that I do. And so I really also help out with affirmations and I am statements and switching your vernacular and the words that you choose every day to align with the desired results that you have, because so much of getting to where you want to go or getting to where you want to be starts with your mindset.
Yes, well said. It always starts with your mindset. And I think Henry Ford, like I said, said it best. If you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
100%.
So that's all mindset. Basic 101.
Yeah.
Well, Carine, thank you for being on the show today. And again, her website is askcarine.com. That's ASK, C as in Carl, C as in cat, ARINE.com.
Or my business page at Ask Carine as well. So you just go on to Facebook, put in hashtag Ask Carine, and you'll find me there. And you can actually send me a message on my business page at Ask Carine.
Okay, well, fantastic. Well, it's been a true pleasure catching back up with you. I haven't seen you in a while, and I want to say thank you for being on the show today. It's been a great pleasure. You share some great information, and I really liked your whole concept of thoughts, words, actions. That is so true. That's the things that you think affects the words that you do or that you say, as well as the actions that you take.
Absolutely. You got to get them all aligned.
Got to get them all aligned, and it all starts with your mindset and your thoughts.
Absolutely.
Well, Carine, I want to say, well, thank you. And for those of you out there in the audience, if you liked what you saw on the show today or heard what you heard on the podcast, please go ahead and leave a comment below. We definitely would like to hear what your feedback is. And everybody say thank you to Carine Werner. And it was great having you on the show again. Thank you.
It was awesome being here. Thanks so much.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thanks so much for listening to this episode of Life's Little Lessons with your host, author of Designing Your Own Destiny, Kevin A. Dunlap. For more great content and to stay up to date, visit kevinadunlap.com, facebook.com/kevinadunlap.author, and on Twitter @KevinADunlap. We'll catch you on the next episode of Life's Little Lessons.